This bout occurred in round 13, and it pitted Banru Yuyama, who compiled a 10-2 12-match record on the left of your screen, versus Washuyama. Now, before the wrestlers ever encounter one another, they go through certain rituals. Not to mention a bit of cold warfare where the wrestlers size one another up and exchange stern, if not menacing, glances. The slapping of hands and pounding of feet to drive away, according to legend, evil spirits. The wrestlers throw salt to purify the doyo, or ring as it's called. And then they prepare to do battle. Again, this was action that occurred in the 13th round of this tournament. Banru Yama on the left, Washuyama on the right. And don't blink, these are lightning encounters. And Washuyama, giving away some 55 pounds to his heavier opponent, was the winner. He upped his record to 7-6. A match is won when a sumotori forces his opponent outside of the inner ring or makes him touch the ground with any part of his body other than his feet. Coming to sumo matches is a way of life for the Japanese. It is also a very demanding way of life for the wrestlers themselves. They live year-round under one roof, a domicile called a stable, and it's a lifestyle that is very monastic and demanding. For sumo wrestlers, young and old, the day begins at the very early hour of 5 a.m. under the watchful eye of the stable owner. Sumo was one of the original martial arts, regarded for its military usefulness as it increased the hand-to-hand combat efficiency of its fighting men. Unlike boxing sparring sessions, sumotori pull no punches during their training period. Great reliance is placed on actual match experience, along with the sage advice of former champions. For the sumotori, weight is not as important as flexibility. Weight training plays only a minor role. The sport of sumo is a sophisticated caste system where the young serve the old. In this case, the young wrestlers at the beck and call of the champion, Takanoumi. There are over 20 sumo stables in the city of Tokyo, and the routine is basically the same. For to become a champion requires an all-consuming passion. Belonging to a stable is a 24-hour-a-day commitment. The wrestlers eat there, they sleep there, and they train there. And all of them share this common goal: that one day their names will hang alongside past stable champions. Coming up, the exciting final 2 rounds when we return to the Tokyo, Japan arena for the Grand Sumo Championships. Record of 10-4. Washuyama, a little guy, just 245 pounds, almost had him, but is thrown outside of the doyo, and so he drops to 7-7. Washuyama in the darker waistband has to rely on speed and cunning, being the smaller man. It almost works. But finally, the bulk of Daijuyama wins out. He improves his overall record to 10-4 and remains a threat in this tournament. In the doyo at the moment, Takanoumi with a 9-4 record, and his opponent will be Kodakaze. Quite a human interest story. Kodakaze almost died at birth. In fact, he was so sickly that his parents took him to a funeral home to pass away. But he recovered and has made quite a name for himself in the sport of sumo. Takanoumi, 5'11", 278 pounds on the small side, but very, very quick, very, very powerful. Kodakaze wearing a bandage around his left knee for support. He has had some injury problems. And there you get a look at both wrestlers working for leverage, trying to find the right place to grab that mawashi or waistband, and Kodakaze has driven Takanoumi out of the ring. He electrifies his crowd and improves his overall record to 12-2. Usually, sumo wrestlers do not reach their prime until they're about 28 or 29 years old. Kodakaze just 24, demonstrating great skill and tenacity. Because sumo wrestling is a sport that is unique to Japan, foreign participation has been virtually non-existent, with the exception of Hawaiian-born Takanoumi. Those who have tried it have found it grueling beyond their beliefs. One such athlete was 18-year-old Texan Philip Smoak. Smoak, a high school football player from San Antonio, knew of the hardships that he would encounter as a sumotori. However, he found it difficult to accept the lowly status and the fact that he had to start from bottom.
It's rough for me to accept from what status that I had in America. I was pretty well off, you know. I had to give up I sold my car to get over here, you know. Yeah. And I gave up my senior year and senior fun in the high school to come over here and try it. But my future depends on how, I think I can take all the training and stuff and the, you know, physical thing, but it all depends on my feeling on the dojo.
Unlike a Friday night high school football game where hundreds of fans cheered him on, Phil wrestled his first match early in the day in front of no one. There is no limelight as a lower-ranked sumo wrestler. Phil won his first match and is only the third Caucasian ever to enter sumo. He demonstrated a definite knack for the sport, but afterwards, to his dismay, there were no adoring crowds nor victory parties. Just a long ride back to the stable for more lonely, rigorous training.
You know, I just won, and I just, you know, made history or whatever, and you know, it hasn't done anything for me. It makes me so mad. Maybe tonight I'll go, hey, you know, wow, I did it. But...
Whether it was the lack of recognition or the excessive distance from home, Phil was never able to completely acclimate himself to the rigors of sumo. Despite his early success, he decided to return to San Antonio. Now the dojo is ready for a 14th round bout between Banriyama and Wakanahana. Now yesterday, Wakanahana, one of the two Yokozuna or grand champions here, had this match against Takanoumi. He had to win. To keep his credibility intact, he has not had a good tournament. Wakanahana came out alive and improved his record to 9-4. One of the interesting facets of sumo lore is that the referee has the final say in all decisions. However, if a majority of the 5 judges in attendance find his decision incorrect, theoretically the referee must resign. To wit, the referee wears this dagger in his sash for the purpose of committing a symbolic hara-kiri. I wonder if the National Football League would ever consider such a proposal. Might be interesting. All right, Banriyama set to go to work against Wakanahana. Banriyama on the left, quickly reversed by Wakanahana, and Wakanahana, one of the 2 grand champions present here, wins this match and improves his record to 10-4. Banriyama drops to 10-4. They are tied. Coming up, a very important bout featuring another grand champion, a mountain of a man, 362-pound Takanoumi. He still has a chance to catch the overall leader, Kodakaze. Bouts of the Japanese Grand Sumo tournament. The Kokugikan arena where the final drama will be played out. In the center ring or doyo, a parade of banners, really the equivalent of walking billboards. Each banner represents an organization or sponsor, and it means that each sponsor has deemed this particular bout noteworthy enough to place 25,000 yen, or the equivalent of over $100, of prize money on the line. The final chapter of this tournament could be written by just 2 men. Young Kodakaze here backstage preparing for his final bout, and Takanoumi, the grand champion, who is trying to catch him. Takanoumi has a 13-bout record of 10-3, but he must win against this sumotori, Asashio. Takanoumi, 5'11", 362 pounds, and this bout has evolved into a hand-slapping match. Kitanoumi looks a little unnerved by young Asashio. Kitanoumi in trouble, and Kitanoumi is out of the ring. Kitanoumi, a heavy favorite, no pun intended, based on his previous records. But Asashio, the heaviest man in this tournament at 388 pounds, uses all of it to drive Kitanoumi out of the ring and out of this tournament. Kodakaze has won it all, no matter how he fares in this final match. Kodakaze watched the match via closed-circuit television in the warm-up room, and he is the winner of this Japanese Grand Sumo tournament. So now the battle remains for second place between Kitanoumi, Wakanahana, Daijuyama, and Baruyama. Ha! Up until now, we have been bombarding you with an endless succession of polysyllabic Japanese fighting names. So please bear with us and my tongue. 15th round bout pitting the young versus the old. 22-year-old Daijuyama on the left versus the 33-year-old Oshio on the right. Remember, Daijuyama needs a win to stay in contention for second place, but he is thrown out by Oshio. So now only 3 Sumotori remain in contention for second place. See if you can remember. Kitanoumi, Wakanahana, and Banriyama, who is about to fight next. His opponent, Takanoumi, who has had a fine tournament. He has compiled a 9-5 record. A dangerous 29-year-old Sumotori, very capable of upsetting Banriyama. Banriyama momentarily thrown off balance. So far, neither man has demonstrated an edge. Takanoumi on the right, Banriyama on the left, and Banriyama goes down. He is out. His record now drops to 10-5. He falls out of contention for second place. Takanoumi preparing to accept his prize money from the referee and gives the traditional gesture of thanks. I might mention that the fighting names of each of the sumo wrestlers are adopted and not actual. Each has a very special meaning. And as you can plainly read, our next bout will pit Kodakaze, which means wind lute, versus Asashio, meaning morning tide. Asashio, or morning tide, the heaviest man in the tournament. Kodakaze, of course, has already clinched the championship. But he'd like to finish out this tournament in very strong fashion, a chance for a possible 13-2 overall record. Asashio on the right, Kodakaze on the left. Remember, Asashio has already upset Kitanoumi, one of the grand champions. A huge man. Look at him as he tries to wrap up Kodakaze on the edge of the ring, and he is out. Another upset for Asashio. And now only one match remains. It is the battle for second place between Kitanoumi, overall record 10-4, and Wakanahana, overall record 10-4. Both these men grand champions, and the amazing thing, in the 300 years since the rating system was created, only 57 grand champions have been crowned, and you're looking at 2 of them. Kitanoumi on the left, Wakanahana on the right. Kitanoumi quick to lock up underneath the arms of Wakanahana, but in trouble. And Wakanahana reverses the tide, changes the momentum, and drives Kitanoumi out of the doyo. It has been a most interesting tournament, and perhaps we have seen a changing of the guard. Everyone who came here expected the 2 grand champions, Wakanahana and Kitanoumi, to fight it out for the Emperor's Cup. Instead, it has been this man, 24-year-old Kodakaze, who has walked away with top honors. The Japanese have a concept called kuramaku, which means the reality of Japan is not out front, but behind the scenes. Today, we hope that we have given you at least a glance into part of Japan's fascinating history. For all of us at Sports World, sayonara from Tokyo. Now let's go back to Atlantic City, New Jersey, and Marv Albert.
Back in Atlantic City, we're getting set for Bobby Jazz and Bob.